Welcome to Tabletop Arcane. I'm Justin, and I'm bringing you today another unboxing. This time a little bit different because, well, I've got 5 things to go through this time. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new Investigator packs for Arkham Horror, the LCG card game. So let's get cracking on these things. Now, I can't necessarily pick which one to go first. I can go left to right as this randomization, but I figured it's Arkham Horror. Let's make the Chaos Bag decide. See who gets to go first. First up is Harvey Walters, our Seeker. So I will slide these over to the side for now, and let's get Mr. Harvey open. Now, in case you're wondering, the token I pulled is the new Arbit's action tokens, or investigator tokens. Really good for tracking your actions, especially, those rogue players like myself who get way too many in a turn sometimes, or likewise. So, another nice thing is those Lola Haze players out there can use that to help identify what class you're currently portraying as. So, like most Mythos packs, we have a insert sheet hiding inside. This insert sheet gives us a little bit of a story narrative, also how to use this expansion, which is essentially it's a 34 card deck for Harvey Walters constructed with 26 upgrades for that deck. And so this is all like player card stuff. So I am, well, yes, this is spoilers, and yes, I'm going to go over all the cards. It is not scenarios that we're diving into, so we're not going to peel away too much of that Mythos flavor. So let's take a look here. We got also a little bit of a strategy in this section here, and a little bit on upgrading on the back. FAQ, talking about one of his cards, and the expansion symbol, talking about the investigator decks themselves. But more importantly, and what I do appreciate that they included is if you want to reconstruct this, ready to go deck, because this is very much like the Marvel Champions. Like, you can pick this up in your store for an Arkham Horror Night right then and there and play this deck out of the box. Plus sleeves if you prefer to sleeve your game. But if you ever assemble it into upgrading, if you ever do things like that, they do have your how to rebuild it. Alright, we're going to slide that over. And get right into this. Now, I took a little bit of the preview of what's in these decks, and it's a lot of new cards, and I'm really excited for that aspect. Yes, there are some old classics kind of put in there to make the decks work well, but it's not like a it's not in a way where it's like I feel like there's not enough new cards. So let's just kind of crank right into here. We're going to throw the close-up cam on most of this now. I'm not going to show the little investigator card because it's Harvey. It is what it is. But here's Harvey Walters. He is a 4 will, 5 lore, 1 strength, 2 agility, Miskatonic keyword. He is the professor. This Harvey Walters is like OG investigator here because he is from Arkham Horror 2nd edition. He's one of the first 16. So was Jacqueline Fine that came out in this collection. Everyone else is actually new characters that were developed, but we'll talk a little bit more about them as we get through them. But Harvey, he's the old professor man. And after, I could have told you Harvey is a seeker from day one, once they develop those roles. So after an investigator at your location draws 1 or more cards from their deck during the investigation phase, that investigator draws 1 card, limit once per round. And his Elder Sign effect is +1 and draw a card. 7 health, 8 sanity. He's a tough old man. Let's take a look at that deck building. This is what I do appreciate about the Arkham Horror LCG personally is these deck building structures makes the character come alive in this is how they're played, but doesn't restrict you in such a way of like there's only like a couple ways to build their deck. So Harvey has 30 card deck size. He is allowed all levels of Seekers, all levels of Neutral, which if I remember right, all of these characters are in that vein because they want them to be accessible to newer players and not to have like crazy convoluted deck building styles, which is fine. So pure Seeker here. Does not count towards deck size is his Vault of Knowledge, Thrice Damned Curiosity, and a random basic weakness. And of course some flavor for you to learn more about Mr. Harvey. So, we talked about his signature cards. Let's take a look at those first. First is his signature, his primary signature card, the Vault of Knowledge. 3-cost asset, Will, Agility, Wild Icon, only for Harvey Walters because it's a signature card. Maximum hand size is increased by 2. That's a fun trick. And then after you successfully investigate, exhaust the Vault of Knowledge and choose Investigator at your location, and Investigator draws a card. So, like, you know, he's all about drawing cards, so why not draw more cards and be able to hold more cards for your cards? Heard you like cards. Signature weakness. Thrice Damned Curiosity. For every 3 cards in your hand, you will take a damage. So, yeah, kind of makes sense thematically. If you're going to get more cards, you're going to get more cards. And then this is going to punish you for having all those cards. Alright, now let's get to the meaty stuff. Now, they are developing new basic weaknesses in here. So, the one that comes in Harvey's deck is Obsessive. Revelation, put Obsessive into your put Obsessive into your threat area. And once your turn begins, discard 1 non-weakness card at random from your hand. Takes 2 actions to discard it. Kind of a nice, honestly, like, it gives you a random penalty. You're going to lose a card each turn, which can be sucky, but if you really need to do something on that turn and don't have the action economy to spend on it, you can survive, especially with Harvey trying to get more cards. Okay, so let's see here. How do we trying to flip through and kind of see if there's a divider or something hiding in here. I don't think there is. I think they just start leveled cards. Okay, that would be one thing I would have personally appreciated, is some sort of divider, much like the Marvel Champions, of like, hey, the pre-con deck stops here. Please do something about that. So, first card. 2 copies of Arcane Enlightenment. Come on, get back there. There we go. Arcane Enlightenment. 2-cost asset, double will. Ritual, max in size is increased by 1. Does take up an arcane slot. And you have 1 additional hand slot, which can only be used to hold tomes. I can already think a certain bookworm who would love to use this card at some point too. Next up is a pair of the Seleno Fragments, a book of books, and just like we're using tomes, so this is a 1-cost asset. Skill boost is a lore, and while you have 5 or more cards in your hand, you get +1 lore. 10 or more cards in your hand, you get 1 will. 15 or more cards in your hand, get a secondary lore. So that's if you can pull this off, that gets Harvey up to 7 lore. He's gonna make all of the investigation checks you ever need him to. Here's another one that they got in here. Now we've seen this one before. This is Disc of It's a Mana, Protective Amulet. It's item relic, 3 cost, 1 will skill. Uses your accessory slot, and as a reaction, when a non-elite enemy spawns to your location, discard Disc of Imzana and automatically evade that enemy or deal it 2 damage. Seekers always need ways to deal damage, so always nice to have that laying around. They're good at clue gathering, not so great at monster control. Oh, well, they have tricks, but they're no guardian in that sense. Encyclopedia, we've seen this one. Encyclopedia, actually, I already see their method is alphabetical. As I'm flipping through, and we're going to go deeper. Yeah, it's not necessarily new cards, old cards. It's pure alphabetical to a certain degree. Alphabetical within card type. So we're going through all the assets first, then we'll go into events, and then we'll go into skills. So, and within each is then alphabetical. So Encyclopedia, 2 cost, 1 wild resource. It's an item and a tome. See, more tomes. 5 secrets get you placed on it. It takes a hand slot, and then you can exhaust it for an action and spend a secret, and then choose an investigator location, and the investigator gets +2 to a skill of your choice until the end of phase. Always good for the, I really need that to work. Feed the Mind. Alright, so Feed the Mind is a spell, uses an arcane slot, 3 cost. It gives you that lore boost, but 3 uses. Exhaust, Feed the Mind, spend 1 secret, test lore, difficulty 1. For each point you succeed by to a maximum of 3, draw a card. And Harvey's, like, even without any other tricks, he's at a 5, so that's pretty easy for him to pull off. A lot of the other Seekers are pretty powerful in that test anyway, so. Another new tome. And this one is the Forbidden Tome, Untranslated. I'm always a fan of these types of cards. So the Untranslated, 1 cost. It's an item, relic, tome. Has that wild resource icon on there. But 5 uses. You action, exhaust it, spend a secret, draw a card. Then if you have 10 or more cards in your hand and there are no more secrets on it, you can record in your campaign log, you have translated the tome. Whatever shall that do? We might find out. I don't know if they actually put tome cards in here. See if one's translated. Yeah, we got a couple options in there. We'll get to those when we get to the upgrade cards. Now, this one we have seen before. This is a copy of Higher Education. You get 2 of those in the deck. This is a really nice card for Harvey and everything else that's built around about having more cards in your hand, because as a 0 cost asset, it'll just sit out there, and when you have 5 or more cards, you can spend a resource to get a +1 will, or you can spend a resource to get +1 lore. And there's no cap on that, so it doesn't take an action. You just kind of spend resources to boost those 2 stats for yourself. An old familiar ally is in here too. This is the Laboratory Assistant. 2 cost asset, ally Mesicatonic Science. Maximum hand size is increased by 2, so not only we combo that with Arcane Enlightenment and a couple other things, all of a sudden we have a hand size of like, yeah, we can hold half our deck, no worries. As a reaction, after she enters play, draw 2 cards. Has 2 sanity, 1 stamina. So she can take a little bit of beating for you if you need it. Winternet Green, another ally hanging out in here. She is a hunter for books, 4 cost asset, lore skill icon, ally, Mesicatonic keywords. While you control a tome or relic, you get +1 lore.
As a reaction, if you feel reveal location, put a new location in, or put a new location into play. Exhaust Winternet Green and search the top cards of your deck for a tome or relic and draw it. Shuffle your deck, and she is a 2/2. Also ally slot. That's actually not bad, actually. You definitely have to put her in decks that are going to be tome or relic features, but that's still a good thing. Next up, we have Burning the Midnight Oil. This seems like an appropriate card for Harvey. We even got him in the art there. You'll sleep when you're dead. That's a good flavored text. Zero cost event. Has a lore and agility icon. It's an insight. Causes an investigate. When this action begins, gain 2 resources. So if you have higher education prepped, that can get you some options to boost with. Next event, we got some cryptic writings. Gain 2 resources. Zero cost event costs 2 or has 2 lore icons on it. Has an insight keyword, and when you play it, you get 2 resources. And after you draw cryptic writings during your turn, play it as a reaction. That's a fun trigger. Be able to play it right away when you draw it. Get some resources. Doesn't cost resources, but now this is weird. We've seen this extensive research before. It is a 12 cost event. That is huge. However, it is an insight card, and you reduce the cost to play by 1 for each other card in your hand, and discover 2 clues at your location. So if you have a standard hand size limit of 8, and also so that's only 4 cost, but if you're playing Mr. Harvey with some of these other hand size boosts, you can get this one pretty cheap, and that's some cheap clues that only cost a card to play and a couple resources. Occult Invocation. Let's get that in there. Frame for you there. Occult Invocation is a spell. It is a 2 cost event, and this is, I think, our first strength skill boost that we've seen in his deck so far, and I'm running out of his deck's getting pretty thin, so Harvey's not good at strength checks, and he only has a 1, so don't let him do standard fights, please, if you value Harvey's life. This is an additional cost to play. You must discard up to 2 cards from hand. Fight. This uses book instead of strength, which is Harvey's bread and butter. And you get +1 book and deal 1 extra damage for each card discarded as part of the cost. So you can go up to 2. You can 0, 1, or 2 it. So that's nice. I like it. Kind of gives Harvey a punch for like, hey, I've got a bunch of cards. I'm not using some of these. Let's make this a 3 damage attack. Preposterous Sketches. We've seen this one too. This is a 2 cost event. This is a will and lore insight card, and play only when there's a clue at your location. Draw 3 cards. Simple, clean, direct, and an old core card here too. We have Deduction. This is just 1 skill card that's in the starting deck. So it gives you a lore boost, and then if this test is successful while investigating location, discover 1 additional clue. That is a workhorse of the Seekers. Not gonna lie, they love that card. Alright, so now we're getting into the level cards. So these are the ones that comes with it. We're expanding the card pool. I don't know if I've even talked about that a little bit yet. So one of the more exciting things about these decks is like a adrenaline shot worth of new cards for each of the classes. And we get player cards all the time with the Mythos packs, and the luck boxes usually give a good boost. But this is like a lot of new cards. We haven't seen this many new cards put out like for player card choices, since like core box, like that's how many different cards are being added. Some of them are repeats, so your collection is going to be a little wonky when you're like, oh yeah, how many copies of that do I have? Oh, I have a little too many of those. That's okay. Honestly, it's very okay. Allows you to have support more decks and have more fun with it. So no big deal, right? Okay, so now we've got the library library docket. Man, I should probably get more sleep or something. One cost asset, level 1 secret cards. So a lot of splash characters are going to be able to have access to this. After library docket docent? Library docent, I think. I will have to look that up later. After they enter play, return a tome asset you control to its owner hand. Play a different tome asset by title from your hand, reducing its cost by 2. So switcheroo in the books, and also some of those books use secrets and counters. So what a great way to refresh some of those. Alright, here's another one. Glimpse the Unthinkable. We've seen this one before. So Glimpse the Unthinkable, draw a card, shuffle any number of non-weakness cards in from your hand, and then draw that many cards. Helps, really, if you got a dead hand, but you have cards, really helps cycle through a lot of stuff like that. 0 cost event, 2 skills, also level 1 card. Fun splash. Here's a new one now. Level 2 secret card. This is the Esoteric Atlas. 3 cost asset, will and agility. It has 4 secrets on it, uses a hand slot. As an action, spend 1 secret, choose revealed location up to 3 connections away from your location, and move to that location. It's the Seeker's answer to astral travel, without like any of the negatives, I think. So we already saw this ally once, but this is her level 2 version. So while you control, you get +1/+1. She's 4 cost, but the big change here looks like it's actually in her reaction. So after reveal location, put a new location back into play, exhaust her and search the top 9 cards. So the only other change, now I'll get the level 0 version out here too. The only other change other than going from 6 cards to 9 card search, she's getting extra sanity and she's getting the will icon as a boost. So not bad. Not bad for 2 XP, actually. Because then she can soak up more of those terrible, terrible things that you do to your investigators. This is an upgraded Cryptic Warnings. Upgraded Cryptic Writings. Insight, gain 3 resources, 4 if you have 10 or more cards in your hand. And then after you draw Cryptic Warnings during your turn, you can play it. 2 cost event, or 0 cost event. Has a book and wild, so it looks like we're getting the 3 instead of 2 resources, or maybe 4, and gets an extra wild icon. So that's not bad. I don't know if I would upgrade it to, unless I'm like, well, I've got the regular Cryptic Writing, so maybe I should just get that one. This is one of my old favorite secret cards. I've got a plan. It's fun to say too, when, don't worry, I've got a plan. And everybody at the table looks at you and goes, ugh, that joke again. At least, that's what my players do with me, because I've said that joke a few times. This allows you to use your lore instead of strength for fighting, +2 lore during the test, and +1 damage. For each clue you have, maximum +3 damage. So this is always a big wallop hit that Seekers have access to. They get clues like mad anyway. The only downside I've ever really encountered with that card is when
you have like the requisite number of clues to advance this scenario, and then you go to 0, and all of a sudden like you can't burn that card anymore because it doesn't actually have, you don't have the extra damage going for it. Mind Over Matter, level 2 version, fast, play only during your turn. Until the end of round, add your lore to your strength or agility, draw a card. This is always great for the, this is like a safety net card for Harvey with his one strength to agility. That will add 5 to either one of those for the round and draw a card. So yeah, Harvey's gonna like that. Mind Over Matter. Seeking Answers, 1 cost event, level 2. This is Investigate. If you succeed, discover 2 total clues amongst your location and connecting locations. Man, I can think of a couple fun ways to just cheese this one too, because like if you think about it, like you can make an investigation if there's no clues at your location because there's no restriction of that on the card, right? So then you can have the fun of like, oh, well, this location is super tough, High Shroud, or there's a monster hanging out there. Let's just seek answers from over here where it's a little bit safer. Perception. This is a leveled version of the core skill card, and it's a class version of it too. That's fun. So it gives you 3 lore to your test, and you can only have 1 of these committed per test. And if you successfully draw a card, 2 cards if you succeed by 2 or more. And I put the little, it's usually reserved for rogues with the, if you succeed by 2 or more. Now we talked about the Forbidden Tome unread version. This is now one of the 2 versions that you can upgrade to. This is the Dark Knowledge. So you can only play this by upgrading from the untranslated version, and only if you've translated the tome in your campaign logs. It costs 4 actions. 4 actions. Well, you got to read a little bit further to discover how this is going to work. But exhaust it, move 1 damage from a player card at your location to an enemy at your location. Reduce the ability's cost by 1 action for every 4 cards in your hand. Minimum 1 action. So 4 actions normally only have 3 in a round, but there is a way to reduce it. And with Harvey wanting to have all the cards in the world, you might be able to get this down to 2 actions, maybe even 2 actions, maybe even 1 action. And it's exhaust, so you're not even spending it. That's nice. This is the other version you can go with. So, Secrets Revealed, opposed to Dark Knowledge. Same overall, general everything. Skill icons, there is a small difference. This one has lore, the other one had will. This one has agility, the other one had strength. And they both had wild. But, again, 4 actions, exhaust tome, Forbidden Tome, and you may move to a connecting location, discover 1 clue at the location, reduce this cost by 1. For every 4 cards in your hand. Minimum 1 action. So, do you want to do damage, or do you want to find more, or do things that Seekers do already better? Alright, Farsight, level 4. The last 2 are level 3 cards, the upgraded Forbidden Tome. So, we're now getting out of that splash range. Normally level 2 is the cutoff. There's some characters that can go a little bit higher than that, depending on the keywords, like tomes or items or relics. But now we're starting to get into like only Seekers really are going to have access to this stuff. So Farsight is a level 4 ritual. It, as a fast action during your turn, if you have 8 or more cards in your hand, exhaust Farsight, play an event from your hand, paying its cost. Nice. That skips an action, actually. So you could turn a player card, which is normally an action, into a non-action by using that. Now, everything's been 2-of, but now we have 2 cards that are 1-ofs.
because they're permanent cards and they're limit 1 per deck, so no need to actually have a second copy of it, even though you may want a second copy of it if you're running multiple Seekers. So this is a permanent Miskatonic Archaeology Funding, level 4 card, permanent 1 per deck. You have 2 additional ally slots which can only be used to hold Miskatonic assets. And force, when you take damage or horror, no more than 1 of that can be assigned to the Miskatonic asset. That's a catch. I don't know if I like that. I'll probably experiment with it, but I'm not sure if I'm going to like it. Alright, now we get the full-on Necronomicon, but it's the Petrus de Darka translation, slightly different translation than we've seen in the game already. It comes with 5 lore boosts. It is a level 5 Seeker card, so this thing's just crazy. Uses 6 secrets, limit 1 per deck. You can spend 1 secret to get +2 to skill test for the skill test. You can spend 2 secrets to draw 2 cards. You can spend 3 secrets to discover a clue at any location. Or you can spend 4 secrets to deal 3 damage to an enemy engaged with you. Talk about flexibility on this card. And then if you have ways to refresh those secrets, or pull up the tome and then replay it later, whew, boy, that's going to be fun. Alright, so that was Harvey Walters. That's our first card here. And I like it. There's a lot of fun stuff in there. And I'm typically, if I have to pick one class, I play Rogue most of the time. Not that I don't play all of them, but if I had to forcefully choose a particular class, I lean towards the Rogue. I like their cards a lot. I need to play more other classes so I can have more fun with the other card pool. But that's Harvey. He's fun. 1 down, 4 to go. Next up, Nathaniel Cho, our Guardian. Alright, Mr. Cho, let's crank this thing open. Now, Nathaniel Cho is a Guardian, and he is a new character to the Arkham mythos. So, I think we're over 60 characters now in the mythos, playable amongst all the different games. Because for a while, Fantasy Flight did not add any new investigators to the mythos, because there was Arkham 2nd Edition, which added most of them. Within that time period, the Elder Sign came out, and so did Eldritch Horror, and within those, they just the expansions that came out were like, yeah, these are new characters for this game, but not necessarily new characters for Arkham in general. It wasn't until Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition that we actually got brand new investigators that we hadn't seen in any other games. And then they've been kind of mixing and matching and going around. So Preston Fairmount is in Arkham Horror, but he was originally matched in 2nd Edition as a new character. So they're getting around. I'm not going to say that we're not seeing them in some of the other games, but neat. Another insert for Nathaniel Cho: how to use the expansion, how to use his starter deck, how to upgrade him, and he has a little boxing glove as his expansion symbol, so you know those are Cho cards. Nice. Not really going to dive too much on that because we talked about it with Harvey. So let's go right into there we go. Let's go right into Mr. Cho's deck. So if you have a favorite investigator, I'd like to hear it. Throw it up in the chat, throw it up in the comments. I would actually be interested if there's a particular favorite or a dream investigator that isn't in one of the games and you really want them in your game. Obviously, let's just maybe keep it to someone you want to see in Arkham Horror that might be existing elsewhere, like Trish Garbrell is one of my favorites.
she's coming, but she isn't in the game yet. So like that would be an example for me of someone I would like to see in the game and have some fun with. All right, let's dive over to the thing. There. Mr. Cho. Alright, Nathaniel Cho is a boxer, and he is a 3 will, 2 lore, 5 strength, and 2 agility criminal warden. As a reaction, when you deal damage to an enemy by an event or fight ability on an event, deal 1 additional damage limit once per phase. So you can do some fun tricks with that too if you're playing some events out of phase to deal some of this damage. Older sign event, +1, and then if this skill test is successful during an attack, return the event from your discard pile to your hand. 9? 9 and 6, so he has plenty of health, a little bit of sanity. Let's take a look at his deck building. Much like Harvey, we have 30 card deck size. We have all levels of Guardian cards, all levels of neutral cards. He gets Randall Cho, Tommy Malloy, and 1 basic weakness. Nice. Okay, so let's take a look at Mr. Randall Cho. This is Nathaniel's signature card. This is his concerned brother, who is a 2-cost asset, will, lore, and wild. He's an ally. He's a medic. Only in Nathaniel Cho's deck, so you're not going to see him elsewhere. However, there's a weird mechanic where you can use teamwork to pass this card, or I owe you 1 from a rogue deck to get this and play this in your area, but it's not including your deck, so it doesn't really count. 1 physical, 1 stamina, and 3 sanity. As a fast action, after Randall Cho enters play, heal 3 damage, or search your deck or discard pile for a weapon asset, play it, paying its cost, and shuffle your deck. Hey, that's something Guardians like to see, because that's gonna get you what you need, depending on what you need. Tommy Molly. Nathaniel only, prey, hunter, force. When Tommy Malloy would take any amount of damage, reduce it by 1. Ooh, that's going to be rough. But Nathaniel's all about boosting damage, so that makes sense that Tommy here is going to be a cause of some heartache for him. Now, on top of that, this is a enemy, so let's talk that he has 2 fight, 3 evade, and 3 health, and will do 2 stamina damage to you. The basic weakness that we're getting added, self-destructive. Really fancy art in that one. Boxer punching the mirror. Very iconic, actually. Revelation, this is a flaw. Put self-destructive into your threat area. When you deal 1 or more damage to an enemy, take 1 damage. Discard 2 actions to discard. Alright. Now, into the Guardian cards. We're going to go with the cards in this deck, so these are all going to be level 0s. This is a 2-handed boxing glove item. 3-cost asset. Increases strength on a skill check. You get +1 strength while fighting. Ooh, actually I like how that's worded. +1 strength while fighting. So anything that triggers a fight like test will count. But some of the other things that don't necessarily, that will use strength as a test, won't count on this. Mixed blessing there. After you defeat an enemy, exhaust the boxing glove to search the top 6 cards of your deck for a spirit event, add it to your hand, and shuffle your deck. Nice. Flesh Ward. We've seen Flesh Ward before. This is a ritual, has 4 charges on it, uses the Arcane slot, which isn't necessarily heavily used in Guardian cards, so it's nice to flex into it. 3 cost asset, and as a reaction when you are dealt damage and or horror from an enemy attack, exhaust it, spend a charge, cancel 1 damage or horror that was just dealt from that attack. Shield never hurts. This is just staring at the art on this one. This is the Purifier, Gretty Wagner, taking down a Migo, it looks like. Poor Migo, what did he ever do? Probably just trying to, show her his cylindrical brain jar collection or something, right? Ally, Hunter. She is a 5-cost ally asset who will grant you +1 strength, and as a reaction after you defeat an enemy, exhaust her to deal 1 damage to her, and discover 1 clue at your location, and she has 3 stamina, 2 sanity. Not bad. An old Guardian card, Standby, the Physical Training. This is one of those basic skill cards, or basic talent cards. Skill cards are a little bit different. But you can spend a resource to get +1 will or +1 fight. Another new one, Relentless. This is a 0-cost asset. As a reaction, when you deal excess damage to an enemy, exhaust it to place that excess damage on Relentless. As a fast action, discard Relentless and gain resources equal to the amount of damage on it. Finally, a way to... I've always had problems with Guardians, and in general the game, where you overkill something even though you can't really not help it, but this would be definitely a card to run with that. And then fuel your ability to get some money for your overkills at least. Alright, Safeguard. Safeguard is a 2-cost asset talent. As a reaction after Investigator moves from your location to connect location, exhaust Safeguard, move to that location. I don't have much to say on that one. I think it's useful. It's a nice asset card, especially because you'll throw it down there. It doesn't take up a hand slot, things of that nature. Clean them out. Oh, this is a classic Guardian type of card event. So you'll be able to initiate a fight, and then when the action begins, get 2 free resources. So worst case scenario, that's just, hey, I got 2 free resources for a fight I was going to do anyway. So Counter Punch. So Counter Punch here is a fast event, and play after enemy attacks you, even if the attack was cancelled. Fight this attack targets that attacking enemy. Now this, of course, remember how Nathaniel Cho, when dealing damage via an event, much like this, you can get extra damage. Well, this is how you ends limit 1 per phase for Nathaniel Cho, so this is a way to get out of phase a little bit. Dodge. Oh, another old classic core card here. It's a fast play when an enemy initiates an attack. You get an Investigator location, cancel the attack. So you can dodge, counter punch. Kind of like how it sounds. It sounds like you're going to be boxing by playing these cards. We're going to roll through some of these a little faster. Some of them are just kind of quick. And I've got 3 more decks to get through, so I don't want to be at this for hours. Get over here. Spirit Tactic. This causes an engage and a fight. Choose a non-elite enemy at your location or connect location. Move that enemy to your location. Engage it and attack it. So good against those aloof bastards that are out there. Where you have to take your action economy tanks when you have to spend those engage actions. Glory. Glory here is a 1-cost event. It's a fast. After you defeat an enemy, draw 2 cards. Ding, ding, ding. Keeping up that boxing theme. Not gonna lie, really enjoying Nathaniel Cho for that. I know the community kind of
gave him a little bit of a, I don't know about Nathaniel Cho. I don't know. I'm excited about most of the characters here. We're going through the chaos bag to figure out who we're drawing next. I know who I'm most excited to see, but we'll see them when we see them. So far, it has not been these two. All right. So next up is Monster Slayer. This is a nice solid plus fight event that will deal +1 damage. Got nothing more to say than that, than more ways to trigger fights and get boosts in those fights. Speaking of fights, here's another one. 1-2 punch. This is a spirit, a tactic, initiates a fight. You get +1 strength for the attack. If you succeed, you may fight that enemy again. If you will get +2 and +1 damage for that secondary attack. So, yeah, this is 2 fights for the cost of 1. Oh boy. Nathaniel is a punchy little guy, isn't he? Alright, stand together. We've seen this one before. Choose another investigator at a location. Both you and the investigator gain 2 resources. Maybe that'll help you pay for that 1-2 punch. Alright, not gonna lie, this is like a hallmark of Guardian cards, is the Vicious Blow. Core card here, and if the skill test is successful during an attack, it gets +1 damage, and it gives you a +1 on your fight, which is what you want anyway. Now we're on the level cards. So first up, we got level 1 Evidence. This one will allow you, after you defeat an enemy, a fast play, discover 1 clue, or 2 if you defeat enemies with a combined total of at least 4 printed health this turn. Ooh, combined total health. That's actually kind of nice. So if you actually get a couple weak enemies and you bust them down, you can get some clues. Galvanance. Fast play only during your turn. Ready a guardian asset you control. You may take an additional action to your turn, which you can be only used to fight. Oh, come on, the guardians. That's what they want to do anyway. So I'll put more fight in my fight, guardian. It's a nice level 1 event. Level 2 event. This is a level 2 counterpunch. So we have an upgrade version of counterpunch. This one's actually really interesting because this one is fast play when an enemy attacks you before resolving that attack, where counterpunch didn't necessarily, it's after the enemy attacks you. So this kind of triggers a counterpunch. So level 0 counterpunch. Enemy attacks you, you resolve the enemy attack, then you resolve your counterpunch. This one steps right in between that resolution for you, which is awesome. And it does +2 strength, +1 damage for this attack. And he's, counterpunch is a nice thing for some splash. Get over here. Spare tactic, fast play during any fast action window. Engage, fight, choose any window. So that actually, you can play this technically, I think, out of turn then. Engage, fight. Again, move a non-enemy enemy up to 2 locations. Move it to your space. Engage it, attack it. I like the taunt idea that Guardians have, because we've definitely played where Guardians will like run in a room, get engaged with the monsters, and then let the Seeker run in and investigate the clues after that. Lesson learned, level 2 event. Fast, after you take damage from enemy, discover 2 clues at your location. Hey, that's no complaints about that one there. Mano a Mano. Play only as your first action, deal 2 damage to an enemy engaged with you. This does not provoke attacks of opportunity. Very important keyword there. We do not want to provoke attacks of opportunity if we can help it, because those kind of suck. So, kind of like it. 0 cost event, level 2 cards, so you can splash this if you want in those multi-class style characters. Leveled up and classed version of an Overpower. This is normally like a basic neutral card. I like that. I'm not gonna lie, I like the fact that each this does make me wonder though, because there's 5 classes and there's only 4 skills, plus the Unexpected Courage Wild. We'll see. But this, just like Perception from Harvey's deck, gives you 3 skill boosts, max 1 per test if it's successful, draw a card, or 2 if this is successful by 2 or more. Level 3 boxing gloves. Now we're out of the splash range a little bit. So these are item weapon +2 while fighting, and if you defeat enemy exhaust boxing gloves, you search the top 9 cards for a spirit event, which honestly, if you've been looking at all the different spirit events, this is like 1-2 punch, counter punch, like all these like boxing. I Clean Them Out was a spirit card. Get Over Here was a spirit card. Glory was a spirit card. Monster Slayer is a spirit card. Yeah, like, come on. That's what you want. This is a level 3 Gertie. I think it's Gertie. If it's not, I apologize for anyone who has this name, and I'm butchering your name. She is +1 fight, +1 lore. After you defeat an enemy, exhaust and deal 1 damage to her, discover 1 clue at your location or a connecting location. Nice. Kind of wish they had the cost reduction. I think it's one of my favorite things about like Leo DeLuca specifically is like he doesn't do anything different because he doesn't need to do anything different, but the cost reduction on him is nice. Dynamite Blast. Dynamite Blast is a fast play during any action window, lightning window. There's an official word for that, and I don't recall off the top of my head. Deal 3 damage to you. Choose either your location or connecting location. Deal 3 damage to each enemy and investigator at the chosen location. That's Dynamite Blast. There's nothing fancy about that. Ooh, Taunt. I talked about taunting. Here's the actual Taunt card. Level 3 event. And engage any number of enemies at your location. For each enemy engaged this way, deal it 1 damage and draw a card. I like Get Over Here more. I'm actually probably going to play that more than Taunt, but this is a level 4 physical training. How about that? Level 4 physical training. This, I stopped using cards like physical training kind of because there's like so many other cards I prefer to play. It's hard to say no to some of like the old workhorses, but like I would probably look at this one. Has 2 resources. Replenish these resources at the start of each round. Spend a resource from your research pool or physical training, and you get +1 will or fight for the skill test. Ooh. Yeah, like it gives you 2 that you can spend on it every round. Why not? It won't let you grow it, but that's okay. And last card for Nathaniel Cho's deck here. This is a level 5 Guardian card. This is a 1-2 punch upgraded. This one, fight, automatically succeed and deal 1 damage for this attack. You may fight again and get +3 and deal 2 damage for that attack. Oh, that's beautiful. Come on. Monsters don't get you if you just punch them out, right? All right, so that's Nathaniel Cho. I like his deck. I think he's got a lot of fun. I will probably, while I'm doing the league, I don't think I'm going to incorporate any of these cards into my league deck, but I may start streaming one of these investigators as their initial decks. Maybe through Night of the Zealot, something basic, something simple. Maybe I'll do one of the one-shots. I don't know. If you're seeing this and I haven't done this yet, let me know what you think. I think I'm going to run
each of them as they are through something. Kind of using the guidelines and just seeing how Fantasy Flight sets it up versus how I would feel. Oh. It's, honestly, it's something to do. I like playing Arkham Horror, and any excuse to play more Arkham Horror is A-okay with me. Sorry, but not sorry. Alright, 2 decks down, 3 to go. Who is up next? Is it the one I want? It is Survivor. It's not. So, who is it? Is it this one or this one I'm more excited about? Stella is interesting. Stella Clark, we'll see. I like the story behind Stella Clark, as she is a letter carrier. And yeah, like her little like meta story is just crazy cool. She might have one of my favorite like plot stories. Yeah, actually, if I don't know if I looked at the back of these until now, but it's really totally designed for a new player, or honestly, I'm an old hat player, so not really anything fancy there. But like, ready to play Survivor deck, 24 card upgrade cards for campaign play. Stella, the letter carrier, recover quickly from fallen test. It kind of tells you a little bit what type of deck it's like. And then, like, obviously, these could be used to augment and customize existing decks. But yeah, hopefully, that would be really terrible if they couldn't. I know some people out there are actually like buying 2 copies of these so that they can keep the decks together. I did not. I'm okay with that. Mostly because I can reassemble them if I ever really want to play those decks again. Like I said, I'm probably going to play through each of them as they are before I dive into it. And let's see, Stella has her little letter as her expansion icon. It does have the additional rule clarification about exile. So, just making sure Nathaniel didn't have anything fancy. Okay. Just going back, double checking. Alright. Let's take a look at Stella. See, street card named Desire is always ruined for me by The Simpsons. So like I always hear like Stella's in the voice of Ned Flanders, not complaining, just stating a fact of my life. All right, let's take a deeper look at Miss Stella Clark, the letter carrier. All right, so Stella here is a seeker, so not seeker. She is a survivor. So as a survivor, she's going to be a little bit scrappier, a little bit more like down on your luck sort of character. So we'll see. So Stella here has a 3 will, 2 lore, 3 fight, 4 agility. She is chosen in Civic. As a reaction after you fail a skill test, you may take an additional action during your turn this round, limit once per round. Oh, that's nice. Like, I know I read the spoilers, but like I don't remember that one being so cool like that. Like, oh well, I failed. Whoops. Well, I can at least get the action back once per round. Elder Sign effect, +1, and instead of you can choose to automatically fail to heal 1 damage and 1 horror. So 1 on 1 heal. She is an 8/8 combo. That's actually really neat because her Elder Sign effect could trigger the reaction if you haven't yet, because you're choosing to fail, and then that qualifies after you fail a test. So nothing fancy here. Same thing we've seen with everything else. She gets 30 cards in her deck, all the survivor range, all of the neutral range. She gets 3 copies of neither Rain nor Snow, 1 copy of Called by the Mist, and 1 basic random weakness. So like the meta story, you can definitely read it in here. on your spare time, but the long and short of it that I really enjoy is at the end of her route, there's always one extra envelope in her bag addressed to her. And that's just like, we don't need to know necessarily if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but like the fact that that's just like just creepy enough that gets that Arkham flavor. Neither Rain nor Snow. This is her signature card. If a skill test fails, cancel all effects of the failed test. Oh, I'm not gonna lie how much I love that. And it's 3 wild, and you get 3 of these. Like, how many times are in a game of Arkham Horror are you messed up by, like, for every point of that you failed by, bad stuff happens, and this just wipes it out. Now, granted, you are investing like 3 boost on it, so hopefully you're not canceling or losing out on that. But yeah, you never know. Signature weakness time. Called by the Miss. Honestly, this kind of reminds me of like a Agatha Christie novel cover art-wise, but this is a curse. And as a revelation, you put it into your threat area. Forced after you initiate a skill test with a difficulty of 4 or higher, you will take 1 damage, and 2 actions will get rid of Called by the Miss. Basic weakness that we're getting in this. Now, I gotta say, all of them have a new basic weakness, and I love it for that. And one of the great things about this is that all of these basic weaknesses are going to be added to the pool of basic weaknesses that any investigator you build can potentially get. So, yay, more basic weaknesses for everybody. And these ones are kind of fun. I haven't this. You can't say you love weaknesses, but there's like, none of them I've gone like, I wouldn't really, like, I'm not really excited by that weakness, give or take. So at least all these are nice. Atypophobia. This is, you put it in your threat area. After you fail a test, take 1 horror, 2 actions discard. Relatively simple. Kind of plays into what her deck's about anyway, and what survivors are about anyway. So 18 Derringer is our first card for her deck. Now this is a item, weapon, firearm, illicit, 3 cost, has 2 ammo, action, spend an ammo, initiate a fight, and you get +2 strength for that fight, +1 damage. If you fail, place 1. If you fail, place 1 ammo on it. That's kind of nice. So if you fail, you lose the action, but it's not the end of the world. But if you're Stella, you may not lose that action because that would be a skill test that you could potentially say, "Hey, I failed that test. Let me do that again." Bam, bam. Go, Derringer. Grimm's Fairy Tales item tome with a Wendy Adams on the cover. It looks like 4 secrets get placed on this asset. Takes a hand slot, and as a reaction after investigator location fails a test by 2 or more, exhaust Grimm Fairy Tales, spend a secret, heal 1 horror from that investigator. Next up is an old key ring. Survivors are just full of all sorts of like Grimm Fairy Tales old key rings, like just like everyday items that they try to find and use to fight the mythos. So this is item 2. There has 2 keys on it. If there are no keys on old key ring, discard it. As an action, investigate at your location -2 shroud up for this investigation. If you succeed, remove a key. So I'm already seeing the theme in the first couple cards. I'm really digging it. Is like, if you fail, you're not penalized. So with a Derringer, if you miss, you put the ammo back on. You only remove a key when you actually succeed on the old key ring. Granny Orn, we've seen her before. Now Granny Orn is one tough bird. This is a level 0 version. Actually, we may not have seen Granny Orn. We've seen her in the mythos and in stories and reference about Granny Orn. But now, because I've played way too much Arkham Files games, I'm wondering if we have not seen her as a card.
I think I'm thinking of someone else. We may not have seen her as a card yet, but we have seen Granny Orn exist and be encountered. I think it's probably an encounter that was in Arkham Second Edition, maybe Eldritch Horror. I'm really thinking Arkham Second Edition, possibly Third Edition. That's the problem. It's all blending in. But let's get back to talk about the cards here. Level +1 will, and when investigator location will fail a test, you can exhaust Granny Orn, and that investigator fails by either one less or one more. Ooh, that would allow if you fail by 2 or more, 2 or less. Yeah, kind of like that. Playing with that fail by mechanic a little bit with her. Speaking of, this is a mysterious raven. It's an ally. It's a creature. As a lightning, discard mysterious raven and take 1 horror. Discover 1 clue at your location. Easy. It has 1 sanity, so you could take. It's not direct horror, so the bird can just find you a clue. Or you can start going insane yourself, and the bird can find you extra clues. Well, this card. Never mind. You have to discard it. And nothing like, honestly, like flavor text. If it wasn't the quote about from the Raven, it would not make. Yeah, why not? Like, it has to be. It's not the one you think, though. This one is a different quote, not nevermore. Rabbit's Foot. This is a good old staple of the Survivor cards. After failed test, exhaust Rabbit's Foot, draw a card. Here's their standard skill bump card, Scrapper. So you can spend a resource to get +1 fight or +1 agility. 2 of those, not bad. Will to Survive, 4-cost event. Spirit, and it's fast. Play only during your turn. Do not reveal cast tokens for the next skill test you perform this turn. Ooh. That's kind of good. Kind of like the idea of not having to roll chance. Just make sure you get boosted enough. Another reprint here. A Test of Will. Fast. When an investigator at your location draws a non-basic... play when an investigator at your location draws a non-basic or non-weakness treachery card. Test Willpower 3. If you succeed, cancel that resolution effect. So, when that one agility character gets something like, I don't know, Chilled Touch or something crazy dumb like that, you can maybe save them. Dumb Luck. Fast. Play after you fail skill test by 2 or less. During an invasion attempt against a non-elite enemy, place that on top of the encounter deck. That is kind of dumb luck. Because it becomes someone else's problem if you're playing multiplayer. It becomes your problem really soon if not. Grit Your Teeth. Honestly, one thing I've also seen now that I'm like looking through some of the cards too is we're getting like Stella art in some of her cards. We got Nathaniel's art, like all the boxing cards were Nathaniel art. We saw Harvey a few times on some of the cards in his deck too. So we're getting like, yeah, kind of a story narrative tied to some of these. And the benefit of these are pre-built decks for these characters allows them to do that very easily. Like, hey, let's design cards for these characters that work really well. They'll also work for other characters, but why not? So Grit Your Teeth. It's a fast play. After you fail a skill test, you get +1 for each of your skills for the remainder of the round. And let's see. Live and Learn. Fast play after a skill test fails. Play. Bleh. Let me try the my English here again. Live and Learn. Fast play after a skill test you fail ends. After resolving all effects of the failed test, attempt the test again at a skill of +2 for that test. So you had to take all the negative consequences, but you get to do that again.
All right. Look what I found. Fast. Play after failing by 2 or less when investigating. Discover 2 clues at your location. I've always kind of appreciated the art on this one too, because it's like, yay, stuff is happening. I crashed my car, that's bad. But look at this thing I discovered there. Whoops. No, the card. And so this one is, we've seen it before, but fast play after you fail a test by 2 or less while attacking an enemy engaged with you. Deal this attack's damage to a different enemy at your location. Take heart. Max 1 per test. We've seen this one before too, but that's okay. After this test fails, performing, investigator draws 2 cards and gains 2 resources. Take heart's always nice. And it's kind of, you can kind of cheese it if you know you're probably going to fail the test, or you kind of want to fail the test because it's not that important, but then you get 2 cards to your resources, which is 4 actions otherwise. Alright. We got level 1 cherished keepsake. Now we're out of the core deck, starter deck for her. So now we're in some of the upgrade cards that are coming with her. So Stella can get a cherished keepsake. Improved. Forced when it is defeated by horror, exile it, and has 4. Got 'em, 4 sanity soaks. Now, exile was the rule reminder that was on her sheet. This is exactly why it's on there's a reminder. When a card is exiled, removed from the game and returned to your collection during campaign play, it is exiled and must be purchased again with experience points between. If you wish to re-include it into your deck, exiling 1 or more cards will reduce your deck below. When purchasing cards between scenarios, you must purchase back to legal deck size. When purchasing cards in this manner, you may purchase level 0 cards at 0 experience cost until deck is legal again. So it won't necessarily punish you for exiling things if you replace it with level 0 cards, but that's okay. Level 1 leather coat. Leather coat's a good staple card. This is like reverse cherished keepsake. This is for stamina, same thing. When it's defeated by damage, exile it. It doesn't have stamina, or it doesn't have sanity, so you can't do it that way. 0.18 Derringer, level 2 version. 3 ammo this time. Spend ammo, get +2 fight, +1 damage. If you fail, place 1 ammo on it. The next time you trigger this ability, you get an additional +1 fight. I like that. I really like the Derringer. Man, I think I might splash that in some of my decks. I think I might include it in some of my Seeker or Survivor decks anyway. But Test of Will. Fast play when someone gets there. So, yeah. So, Test of Will is make it, someone gets a non-basic weakness treachery, make a test, see if you pass it, and if you pass, then you cancel it. This one is straight up cancel. However, then you test. If you fail that 3 will test, then you exile Test of Will. I like it. You get the effect off, and then it's whether or not you get to keep that card or not around. Look what I found, level 2. After failing a test by 3 or less, discover 2 total clues from your location and connecting locations. I like the connecting location versions, I really do. Upgrade level 2, Dumb Luck. Now this one, after you failed by 3 or more, so like we're increasing our fail range, was always nice. You place the enemy at the bottom of the encounter deck this time, which is, I think, better. Because if it's at the top, then it's going to get to you right away. Maybe it's at the bottom. It's not. Here it is. I mentioned that the skill cards, leveled skill cards, like unexpected, 5 classes, but only 4 stats. Unexpected courage is your wild stat, so they put it in Survivor here. And,
Ooh, man, this is good. So it's a 2 wild, and if you fail the test, you get it back. Now, of course, there's certain characters like Silas Marsh who don't really care, so you can just like, oh, I'm going to fail. I'm going to take this card up anyway. Now we're in level 3. Level 3, Granny Orn. Tough Old Bird, +1/+1. Still no change there. But when you fail the test, exhaust Granny Orn. Investigator gets +1 skill or -1 skill value for that test. She just sits around. Man, I have to look at the other Granny Orn here because I don't. So the +1 lore is new. And so the level 0 version is essentially here. We'll throw it out here. The level 0 version is worded a little bit different, and that's the trick, is when Investigator at your location would fail a test, exhaust her, and then you can choose how the fail by is. The leveled version is, if you would fail, exhaust her, and then you can add +1 or -1 to the value of the test, so you can actually swing a failure into a success, opposed to just mitigating or maximizing, however you will, the other version. Level 3 Lucky. Lucky is one of my favorite cards because it's always fun to pull off. Fast. When you play when you Investigator at your location would fail a skill test, they get +3 to this value of their test. That Investigator also draws a card, and so you can do it for yourself or someone else. Chainsaw. This is like a survivor weapon. For sure. Level 4 survivor. Now, like, we don't see a lot of leveled survivor cards yet, and that's neat, right? So spend 1 supply. It comes with 3. Fight +2 strength for the test, +2 damage for this test. If this attack fails, either place 1 supply on Chainsaw or deal 1 damage to the attacked enemy. Ooh. Sometimes 1's all you need. Or if it has something like Retaliate where you don't want to fail. Actually, that might still trigger. Yeah, it's still a failure of the test, so Retaliate would still trigger. But you can still maybe get that damage off. Quick Learner permanent card. This is level 4. So, during or before your first action of each turn, you may each skill test you perform gets +1 difficulty. During or after your third, each test gets -1 difficulty. During or before your first action each turns, each skill test you perform gets +1 difficulty. So it's always about prepping then. Like, don't do a test on your first action. Do your, move, do your other prep, play a card, and then do your second or third action. Now, the other downside to this one, I will say, is during or before your first action, each of your turns. Each of your turns. So each of your turns does not count the Mythos phase, so I think we're safe from that. That one may need some FAQ out there, because I think that's going to generate some questions specifically about action windows and when it is your turn or not your turn. Deja Vu. Deja Vu is a permanent in between 2 scenarios of campaign. Reduce the experience cost to repurchase up to 3 cards that you exiled in the last scenario by 1 each. So if you actually are playing with exile cards and you're doing a lot of stuff with exile, Deja Vu is going to be a great add for you. It is a level 5. It's a level 5 survivor card, so there's only really survivors that get access to it. Not a bad thing, but it's a thing. You gotta. All right, 2 decks down, 3 decks down, 2 remain. We're over halfway through. I'm picking up the pace too, just to do it.
Jacqueline Fine, a mystic, second character that is an old OG investigator. Let's crack her open and see what she's hiding in this mystic deck. Mystics are a bag of tricks. They're a little bit of a wild card. They can do a little bit of everything, but they're kind of like, I feel like gambling. I feel like gambling. Mystics are mystics are fun for that, because it's like, well, let me pull a token and see what happens. Maybe it's good stuff. Maybe it's bad stuff. But Jacqueline's a psychic, so we'll see what she has in here. I think there might be some fun stuff, right? No, we don't need that yet. And while I didn't plot it, Winifred is going to be our last, and I'm not unabashed. I am a rogue player, so I guess I'm saving the best for last unintentionally. I'm just hanging out in the bag. Alright, so Jacqueline's insert here. It's a lot like the others. We got a little bit of story, we get how to use, we get how to use her starter deck, talking about it. The deck list, how to upgrade it, some FAQs surrounding some of her cards, because mystics be mystics, they're weird. And that's it. So let's dive in here to Jacqueline Fine. 5 will, 3 lore, 2 strength, 2 agility. She is a clairvoyant, and as a reaction, she gets a block of text here. But as a reaction, when investigator location reveal any number of chaos tokens, reveal 2 additional tokens of the revealed tokens. Choose and cancel 2 non-auto fail or 1 auto fail token. Limit once per round. Limit once per round, and she gets to do this all the time. That's gonna be fun. As an Elder Sign effect, gets +1, and if this effect is cancelled or ignored, draw a card. And she has 6 stamina and 9 sanity. Ooh, look at that. Jacqueline Fine is doing fine. Look at the deck building really quickly here. Nothing really shocking. We've seen, this is our 4th deck, so they're very similar. 30 card size, all the mystics, all the neutrals. She does not counter Arbiter of Fates or Dark Future, and has 1 basic weakness. Jacqueline Fine, pretty nice, quick, simple, easy. So let's look at Arbiter of Fates first. That's her signature card, 3 cost asset, has 3 skill icons on it, is a talent. And as a reaction, when you would use Jacqueline Fine's reaction ability, exhaust Arbiter of Fates, this use of her ability does not count towards her limit. So essentially this pretty much grants you 2 uses of her power per turn. That is awesome. Dark Future. This is her signature weakness card. Omen, End Times keywords. Revelation, put Dark Future into play from your threat area. You cannot cancel or ignore Elder Sign, Cultist, Skull, Tablet, Elder Thing, and Auto Fail tokens. Force at the end of your turn, reveal 5 random tokens from the cast bag. If Elder Sign is revealed, discard it. Ooh, that's super mystic. It's not even funny. Nihilism is the basic weakness that she's coming with. Put Nihilism into your threat area. After you reveal, cancel, or ignore a auto fail, take 1 damage and take 1 horror. 2 actions. This discards Nihilism. Straight up. Alright, here we go. Diving into her level 0 cards that are in the deck. So these are all things that ready to go. This is Ritual Candles. We've seen this one in the core box. Ritual Candles, after a cultist, skull, cultist, tablet, or elder thing is revealed during the test that you are performing, get +1 skill value for that test. Scrying Mirror. Mirror on the wall. What am I scrying today?
Is a 3-cost asset, has 4 uses that are secrets. Item and Charm, uses 1 hand. As a reaction, after a skill test at your location begins, exhaust Scrying Mirror, spend 1 secret, perform the Reveal a Chaos token step before committing cards instead of after committing cards.
Ooh, I like it. I really like the ability to know what you're going into so you can commit, overcommit, undercommit. Like, oh, that's going to be an auto-fail test. Well, I'm not committing any cards. Azure Flame. Azure Flame is a spell, uses the arcane slot, 3 cost, has 4 charges on it. Action, spend a charge, cause a fight, uses will instead of strength, deals +1 damage. If an Elder Sign, Elder Sign, a +1 or 0 token are revealed, take 1 damage. You know, we haven't actually seen anything like that quite yet. Off the top of my head, if there is, I'm forgetting it, but we haven't. Normally, it's like the other tokens we're looking for. We're looking for skull. We're looking for tablet. Anything that's like listed on the scenario reference card. When we're doing Mystic cards, so it's actually kind of neat to see that shake up a little bit here. Next up is Clairvoyance. This is a spell, has 3 charges, 4 cost, uses the arcane slot, and this will spend an action, spend a charge, investigate. This is Azure Flame, the investigation version, with a higher cost, less charges, but allows you to use your will instead of lore for book checks, which, yeah, no, she likes her, she has a 5 lore, she wants to use that. Ineffable truth. This kind of looks like a Thanos snap going on here in the art. Has 3 charges, spend 1 charge as an action, evade. Ooh, this is a evade version. I wonder if we're getting more and more of those. So far it's just fight, fight, investigator, evade. This evasion attempt uses will instead of agility, and if you succeed by 1 or more, if you succeed, deal 1 damage to the evade enemy. If you get one of those 3 tokens, lose 1 resource. Doesn't cancel the, but Familiar Spirit. This is a 1 cost ally. You have 1 additional arcane slot, which can only be used to hold spell assets. That's actually really nice. It is a cat, and honestly, the quote, "Thou art wholly unworthy, but I shall serve thee for now," just kind of goes right up that food chain, right? That's what you expect out of cats. Crystal Pendulum. 2 cost asset. It is an item and a charm. You get +1 will. As a reaction after a skill test at your location begins, exhaust Crystal Pendulum. Name a number. If that test succeeds by that number or fails by that number, draw a card. You know, we've seen those betting mechanics before in other games, and like guessing 1 or 2. Gets you a nice little easy swing there. Robes of Endless Night. Let's take a look at this one. This is when you play a spell, a reaction when you play a spell, exhaust Robes of Night, reduce the cost by 1. Otherwise, it's a 2 stamina soak for you. So, cost reduction, soak up some damage, or some damage from you. We saw it in Seeker, but now we're seeing the actual astral travel. So this performs your move action, move to reveal location and then reveal a random token from the bag. If it is any of those symbols, you must discard a item or ally you control. If you cannot, take 1 damage. That's I use that a lot in my Mystic decks that I build because I like the high mobility options that gives you. Let's put on the tokens, like whatever. I can lose something if I have to, usually. I always play to make sure, like, if I am going to fail, like, I'm expecting to fail half the time, so. Hypnotic Keys, this is another core card here. Fast, when an enemy attacks Investigator
at your location, cancel the attack, reveal a token if it is one of those symbols, deal the attack enemy's damage to itself. So it's not always bad things that we're looking at those cards for. Here's another one that we've seen before, Parallel Fates. Don't remember if we've seen this level 0 version, Parallel Fates. No, Parallel Fates, I'm thinking of something else. I'm thinking of Dirk Prophecy, which we'll get to in a little bit. I'm pretty sure Parallel Fates is new here. It's an augury. Look at the top 4 cards of the counter deck. Reveal a random token from the cast bag. If it has one of those symbols, shuffle those cards into on the top. Otherwise, you can order them in any order.
So, talking this one out, you can see them either way, as far as whether or not you get to order them or not. Not bad. Really helpful in like a solo game. A little less helpful in a multiplayer game, unless of course you kind of like plot out like, okay, this player should get this one, this player will get that one, and this one is surge, so this player will get both of these. The Voice of Ra spell doesn't have an icon or an item use. So gain a resource and reveal 3 random tokens from the cast bag. For each of the icons, gain 2 additional resources. Yeah, you're probably going to get, on average, you're probably going to get 3 to 5 resources out of that. Here's Dark Prophecy. Told you we were going to see it. This is a fast play when you reveal a cast token. Reveal 5 instead of 1. Choose one of these tokens with a symbol and resolve that. Ignore the rest. If no such token is available, then choose one of the available tokens and ignore the rest. So I've seen Jim Culver use that card really well because he can treat skulls as zeros. So just, hey, this is a skull. It's all good now. Defiance. This one, before revealing cast token for the test, choose one of the following symbols. Ignore the results of the chosen symbol, including its modifier. Yeah, these are old classic Mystic cards. Played with them all because that's what we had when we played back in 2016 in core set only. We didn't have all the fancy new stuff, just the old stuff. So Precedent, this is a max 1 per skill test skill card. After it's committed, name even, odd, or symbol. After this skill test ends, if the chaos token of the name type was revealed during the test, you may return a spell to your discard pile to hand. Ooh. Good way to recycle some of those spells. Now we're into leveled cards. So this is our first Eldritch Inspiration. This is a fast play when you resolve an effect on a mystic card that triggers when, if, or after a chaos token is revealed. Either cancel that effect or resolve it an additional time. I don't know. I like that card for many reasons. Level 2 Grotesque Statue comes with 3 charges. If Grotesque Statue has no charges on it, discard it. When you would reveal a chaos token, spend 1 charge, reveal 2 chaos tokens instead of 1. Choose one of those tokens, ignore the other. Next up is a leveled version of Robes of Endless Night. Now this is a level 2 Mystic card, so we'll be able to splash it in a lot of other decks. But when you play a spell card, exhaust Robes of Endless Night, reduce the cost by 1. Playing the card does not provoke attacks of opportunity, which is always a fun thing to avoid. Still has that 2 stamina option there for you. Next up, Hypnotic Gaze, fast when you play
When an investigator enemy attacks, investigate your location, cancel the attack, reveal chaos token, and deal damage to the attacking enemy equal to its damage or horror. That's nicer. That's definitely nicer. Alright, we've got a class version and skill leveled version of Guts. This is much like the other ones. If it is successful, you draw 1 card. If 2 cards, if you succeed by 2 or more. Yeah, I like it. Azure Flame upgraded. So we're gonna see all of the series of this and upgraded. This is a level 3 version. 4 charges. You get the extra damage. You get the extra will for the fight effect. And if you take one of those tokens, you will take a damage. So yeah. I don't know if it's a huge step up for level 3. I know why it's level 3 though, is we want to make sure non-mystics don't have access to these. Or non-core mystics have access to these. Clairvoyance, very similar. No real change here. Ineffable Truth is also level 3. And this one is also like a +2 to your will during the evasion attempt. So I'm not saying that they're bad. I'm just saying that it's not much different with them. You know, just doing what they're doing, just a little bit better. Arcane Studies. Now this is much like the physical training that, physical training, where it's going to give you 2 resources each round to be able to spend on it to get that +1 will, +1 lore. Yeah, I like that. I'll probably use that one for sure. This is a good card for mystics to have. Recharge. So you're always using your spells and your charges and all that. So choose a spell or relic controlled by investigate your location. Reveal the random token from the bag. If you reveal one of the symbols, add 1 charge. Otherwise, add 4 charges. Like, yeah. Get those spells. Interesting. So not only we got the level 0 version, we got the level 3 version, and we get level 5 versions of these 3 cards. So as Azure Flame level 5, you get +3 will, you get +2 damage, but you take 2 damage if you get those tokens. Clairvoyance, not much different here. +3, discover 2 additional clues at the location. So that's 3 clues total. But you're risking 2 horror. And finally, the level 5 Ineffable Will, where you get +3. Still getting that +3 if you succeed, deal 2 damage to the evaded enemy, but you're risking 2 resources. And that is Jacqueline Fine's deck. I can pull the token from here, but we know that's a rogue, because we know they're the only one left. So, Winifred, my rogue cards, let's see what we've got in here. Alright, Winifred, do you have anything fancy on your rules insert that we have to talk about? Let's see, some story about her. We've got how to use the expansion, how to rebuild her deck, how to use her deck, how to upgrade her deck, and the little propeller biplane symbol for her. Yeah, nope, normal. All right. These are the ones I'm going to have a hard time not using in the League deck, honestly. So let's take a look at Winifred Hammum. Habmamak.
So this, she is 1 will, 3 lore, 3 fight, 5 agility, criminal. If 2 different non-weakness cards you control are committed to the test, draw a card, limit 1 per test. Elder Sign effect is +1, and if after this test event ends, for every 2 points you succeed by, return a card you committed to your hand. Lore and stuff on the back of her. Deck size 30, neutral cards 5 up to level 5, rogue cards up to level 5. She has anything you can do better, as well as arrogance is her 2 things, and random basic weakness. She's no surprises here, but this is just a fun card. I gotta say, anything you can do better. 6 wild resources, like 6 whatever you need them to be. You can only do it on a test that you're performing, but when you really need to pass, you're gonna pass with her. But she's got arrogance. Arrogance is a negative wild icon, and you must commit arrogance to each applicable skill test you perform if this skill's icon detracts from your skill value instead of adding to it, and if the test succeeds, return it to your hand. So you're gonna have to take that -1 until you fail. Yeah, like you do. Reckless is her basic weakness that they have in here for her. Kind of just goes along with her theme. Commit to a skill test you're performing of any type which has no other that has no other cards committed to it. Other cards cannot be committed to the skill test. If the skill test fails, return to your hand. Forced, if Reckless is in your hand at the end of your turn, reveal it and lose 2 resources. Alright, time for Lockpicks. This is a basic rogue card. We've seen this one before. And Lockpicks allow you to exhaust, investigate, add your agility value to the skill test, and if you do not succeed by 2 or more, you lose your Lockpicks. But she's adding 5 to the test, so hopefully you're going to be good with that one. Mauser C96 has 5 ammo. This is a illicit, so there's a couple other. The bootlegger might be a fan of this one. So you exhaust it, spend an ammo, fight, get +1 strength, +1 damage. If you succeed by 2 or more, ready it or gain a resource. Switchblade, this is an old standard I always like to bust out with my rogue decks too. It's a fast card, action fight. If you succeed by 2 or more, deal 1 extra damage. Nothing really fancy with it, just the fact that you can have a fast weapon out. I appreciate that. Lucky Cigarette Case, if you succeed by 2 or more, exhaust Lucky Cigarette Case, draw a card. Not new, but another one I'm not going to complain about. Lonnie Ritter, feisty mechanic. Lonnie here, if I'm recalling right, was actually introduced in the novella for Jenny Barnes. You get +1 fight, exhaust Lonnie, and spend 1 resource. Choose an item asset you control and investigate your location. Heal 1 damage from that asset and 1 horror from Lonnie. Yeah, she's a feisty mechanic. She's got to make things better. Leather Jacket. Now this is a fast. So 2 soak body armor for rogues. And honestly, this is essentially the version that you can get with Seekers in the leather coat, but this is the leather jacket. So it's very similar, but just different enough. And this, because it's fast, it's really nice because you can just drop it down and like, haha, I have my coat on. That damage is not going to hurt me as
to kick me out. Level 0 streetwise. This is the rogue card that is all about making sure you get that plus lore or plus agility. But this one is you spend 2 resources to get a +2, so you have to spend things in pairs with streetwise. Cheap Shot. We've seen Cheap Shot before. Level 0. This is a fight. Add your agility value to the skill value of this attack. If you succeed by 2 or more, automatically evade. For someone like Winifred here, who has 5 agility, that's great. That puts a fight with her at 8 minimum. Daring Maneuver. Another basic card. Fast. When you play this, you would succeed at a skill test. You get +2 skill for this value. So it's a win more card. But there's a lot of cards that like do extra kickers if you get that win more mechanic. So this is nice to have index. I don't always use it though, because I want to use so many other cards instead. Slip Away, Evade. You can use your lore add your lore to the evasion attempt, so you add your lore to your agility value. If you succeed by 2 or more, and the evaded enemy is non-elite and is not ready during the upkeep, so essentially you stun it for 2 turns. Pilfer, this one's new. Investigate, this uses agility instead of lore. If you succeed, discover 2 additional clues to your location. It's 4 resources, so it's a little high. I will probably use this in a lot of decks, personally. Especially like my Preston or Jenny builds who don't have money problems. Because that's good. And for the most part, I'm playing Finn Edwards, who has crap for willpower, but agility is usually pretty good for rogues. So, Sneak By. This is a 0-cost event. It has a evade, and when this action begins, gain 2 resources. We've seen a couple variations of this card tonight in these decks. It's a neat little card. It's a neat idea of a card. Nimble. For each pilot point the skill test succeeds by, after it resolves, you may immediately move to a connected location, maximum 3 times. You know, Seekers get a lot of movement. Rogues get a lot of evade, but don't necessarily get a lot of movement options, so that's actually kind of nice to see. Daredevil. This one's fun. After you commit Daredevil to a skill test, discard cards from the top of your deck until you discard a rogue card, a rogue skill. You can commit this to this test, commit it, shuffle each weakness that was discarded back into your deck. The downside is you're discarding your deck, so one thing I don't like about that is the fact if you really don't throw a lot of skill cards that aren't rogues in there, you may be going through your deck a lot faster than you want to. Opportunist. Now, Opportunist is our last level 0 card, so this would be the end of Winifred's basic deck. Commit to the skill test you're performing. If you succeed by 3 or more, return it to your hand during this test. So, Opportunist was a nice core card. I think I phased out of it personally. Level cards. Liquid Courage. Always got to have a little bit of a Liquid Courage around when you're dealing with the Mythos. So this uses 4 supplies. Spend a supply, choose investigate your location, heal 1 horror. Then that investigator tests willpower 2. If the test succeeds, they draw a card. If it fails, they heal 1 additional horror and discard 1 card at random. Upgraded Mouser. So the upgraded Mouser is a level 2, uses 5 ammo, exhaust and spend ammo, gets +2 fight, +1 damage for the attack. If you succeed by 2 or more, you can ready. If you succeed by 2 or more, you can either ready it or gain a resource. If you succeed by 4 or more, do both. Which is really funny because Matt Newman was working on the Gen Con card console community credit card, and there was one of the discussions was like, well, if you do pay both costs, you can do everything, right? Yeah, now we see where some of that design ideas are already coming out in other cards that he's already gone through. Daring Maneuver, level 2 version. This gives you +3 for the skill test and a draw card. Okay. Level 2 Cheap Shot comes up. So level 2 Cheap Shot here. Fight. Add your agility value to your skill value for this attack. If you succeed by 1 or more, automatically evade the attack enemy. If you succeed by 3 or more, return Cheap Shot to your hand at the end of your turn. Slipped Away level 2. Now level 2, you add your book to your evasion attempt, and if you succeed by 1 or more and is non-elite, you does not rate your upkeep. If you succeed by 3 or more, you can return this back to your hand at the end of your turn. Wow, we just saw that. So here's some more versions of that. Manual Dexterity. This is the rogue's basic neutral card, upgraded to a level 2 version, max 1 per test. If this test is successful, draw 1 card, 2 or more. If it's successful by 2 or more, which is a rogue thing anyway. I actually really like the fact that those are level 2 cards, because then you can splash a lot of them, but they just have to be the right class combination. So level 3 Lucky Cigarette Case. So Lucky Cigarette Case, after you succeed by 1 or more, is also Lucky Cigarette Case. Search the top X cards of your deck, draw it, shuffle the remaining cards. X is the amount you succeed by. That I like. I like Lucky Cigarette Case in general, but I like the leveled version. Sharpshooter. Sharpshooter here is a level 3. Exhaust when you use a fight ability on a firearm asset. Exhaust Sharpshooter. Choose 1 or both. This attack uses agility instead of strength. All modifiers of your strength are then modified your agility instead. Use the enemy's evade value for attack instead of their fight value. Oh man, I'm not gonna lie, I love this card. Because you get to choose 1 or both of those effects, and that's crazy. Yeah, I love it. Level 4 Pilfer. This one, I like the level 0 Pilfer, so do I still like the leveled version of it? Let's find out. Investigate if this uses agility instead of lore. If you succeed, discover 2 additional clues. If you succeed by 2 or more, put it back to your hand. Yeah, I do like it more. It's a level 3 version, so it's like I would upgrade it, but I think there might be other cards I might do first before I upgrade level 0 to that. But if I'm looking at like, I don't know what to spend XP on right now, I don't have a real strong plan, that may be an easy upgrade. Level 3 Backstab Fight. This uses agility instead of strength, which is what Backstab normally does. Does 2 additional damage. If you succeed by 2 or more, return back to your hand. Yeah, no, we're good here. Copycat. This is a level 3 skill. After you commit Copycat skill, search your discard pile for another investigator. For a skill you can commit to this test and commit it. After this test succeeds, put that card at the bottom of its owner's deck. That's actually kind of fun. I like when rogue cards do that. Like, you owe me one. It's just a fun card. Just like for a co-op game to actually like interact with other players' decks and cards, I really have a lot of fun with it because it's not something you always see in co-op games like that. Normally you're like playing in your own little boxes. The Beretta M1918. Now this is a 4-cost firearm. It has 4 ammo. You can exhaust it, spend ammo to fight. You get +4 for the strength, +1 damage for this attack. If you succeed by 2 or more, ready it. Or this attack deals 1 additional damage. If you succeed by 4 or more, do both. I like that. And finally, and lastly, last card of all these starter decks that we're going to look at today, Chuck Fergus, the O'Bannon Driver, who's got his shillelagh there. And as a reaction, when you play a tactic or trick, you can exhaust Chuck and choose 2. This event gains fast. This event costs 2 fewer resources. or you get +2 when performing a test and during the resolution of this event. I like the flexibility on this one, and it's a level 5, so like only rogues are going to have access to Chuck here. But I like Chuck. So many times, like there's like hired muscle and like upkeep costs, and I'm not a fan of those personally. But yeah, that's nice. So that is all 5 of the Arkham starter investigators. They are now all out. MSRP US is $14.95, just like a Mythos pack. And honestly, I think they're all going to be fun decks to play. I will probably go through them and play them and put them on a stream so that you can see them in action, and I'll talk through how I like them or not on those. So thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and if you enjoy this, make sure you hit that subscribe and like button. We go live on stream on Twitch like this for unboxings of that nature, but we also have it available on YouTube for after watching. And yeah, thanks for watching for Tabletop Arcane. Happy gaming.